Mayegun get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say, make we off mind. But thank God say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you ladder. Oh, yo, yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout. Oh, yo, yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come, man of the masses. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun diary politico. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. This one not day off in mind. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh, yo, yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make you shout. Oh, yo, yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come, man of the masses. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun diary politico. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun la wa mo la mo do 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 do. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun.
Ọ̀rẹ́ ara yìí. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary.
Thank you so much for joining me. As you are joining us this hour, I would advise that you should share the broadcast. Invite everyone that you can tag. Start from the Buhari Deans, the Buhari Didiris, the Buhari Denotus, the Buhari Dijatus, the Buhari Shukus,
Godfatherism,
the Ungoziaris, the Unekaris, the obedient fools, the sophisticated morons, and the humbled slaves of this world.
Ani Mayegun la wa mo do 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 do.
Calling on them, please don't forget the the Bele lecturers, the Mumu lecturers, the Mumu Madus, and the rest of the clan of the Sai barbarians. Tell them, Mayegun today.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn làjù. Mayegun today. Àní ẹ̀sùn làjù. Mayegun today. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun today. Àní ẹ̀sùn làjù.
Don't get mad at me. Listen, there is nothing I'm going to say tonight that many of you have never heard before about Tinubu. But I may be adding some beats and jaras here and there just to make this story make sense to you. But you and I know, no matter what I say, no matter what we say here, it is never going to in any way, right, make or mar their charade. You and I know that. But do we deserve to know the truth and continue to repeat that before they change the history and begin to tell our children lies about drug baron who have actually escaped all kind of justice? So that shouldn't stop us from telling the story. Do you get that? So if you want to get mad, please don't get mad at me, right? And I'll tell you why.
And yes,
in just in the last 8 months alone, or 7 months, put it that way, the Nigeria Central Bank has printed, right, all this money and gave them to Bukuwari. Now, if you are talking about inflation brought about the APC, that has cost you your job, that has somehow demeaned many of you, especially those of you watching me from Nigeria. If you want to get mad, you need to look on your screen. Get angry with the rogues who are toying with your lives. In January, they gave him 704 billion naira. He didn't say what they used the money for, just loans. And if you must know, Nigeria Central Bank has printed and loaned over 20 trillion naira to Boko Haram's government. Couple that with the reckless borrowing that they have been doing, which has now pushed Nigeria debt to over $100 billion. Naira today is about 710 naira to $1, isn't it? Now, in 7 months, you probably should get angry if you have any anger in you right now.
Yes,
Maybe if that didn't get you so much angry yet, okay, before I get to the Tinubu part, okay, maybe this should. You all have been experiencing what you can call revenue shortages in Nigeria, which has led the government of Nigeria to go borrowing and the rest of Nigeria to go sorrowing. But it doesn't really matter. Most of what they borrow in your name, that they devalue your naira for, most of them are expended on recurrent expenditures. What are the recurrent expenditures? The bogus budget that they put together, the way they siphon your money, wreck the economy, and render many, many of you jobless. Now, look at this. They are increasing their Esther code. Yeah. It doesn't really matter if Nigeria is cash crunched. No, they don't care. You probably don't care either. If you do, your anger should be directed at those who have always been indifferent to your situation. Again, if you are going to get angry tonight, just before I get to the Tinubu part, I think you should take a look at this too. If you are a Nigerian who is currently facing the persecution in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, wherever, any part of Dubai or any part of UAE that you are right now, expecting the government of your country to at least come to your aid, as many of you are currently unsure, uncertain of what your future is going to be like after you left, like including those of you who went to Dubai to spend your money. Now, here is the advice from your government. Stay at home. You know something? In fact, if you are under 40, avoid UAE. And so many other jargons they put in there if you want to be angry. Here is another one. I mean, I don't know how many of you are still aware of this. In Nigeria of today, in 7 years of APC, Egbe, Apayan People's Congress, Ajinigbe People's Congress, Al-Qaeda People's Congress, in 7 years, ladies and gentlemen, rather than bring succor, peace to the terrorized part of the northeast of Nigeria, these guys have now sort of built empire. They've built empire on terrorism, which has now enveloped the rest of the country. I told you sometimes ago, and I expected the Buhari idiots, the cyberbarians, to at least come back with something reasonable to counter that. In northern Nigeria, you have today, ladies and gentlemen, half of the entire place is no longer in control of Nigeria. One of the things they are indeed planning to possibly use in making sure that you have no goddamn charade election you are planning for. But that's the story for another day. Because the terrorists control almost half of northern Nigeria. In order to placate them, the areas where, where terrorists control, forget there's no school. There are no schools there anymore. All shut down. And you can be talking about thousands of schools that are trapped in these areas. In Niger State alone, Niger State, Babangida Abdulsalami State alone, over 500 communities and villages are no longer part of the state. We are talking about over 18 local government areas altogether, scattered everywhere, controlled by terrorists. People there, today, they are paying their taxes to the terrorists. Yes, that's the truth. Today. So, if you want to get angry with anything, maybe Now that those who have not surrendered their own areas yet to these terrorists, they have also managed to comply. You should know this if you have picked up any of your Nigerian dailies recently, including the one that is out today or the one that is going to be out tomorrow. In northern Nigeria, it is true. Over 615 schools shot in Kaduna, Zamfara, others. Just to let you know that if you have any anger in you that you think you want to probably bring out when I begin to talk about this drug lord and the story that so many of you actually know, but somehow something I've told you that is in the past, forget it. Well, we need to remember that we have children, that these rogues are continually going to be brainwashed. They will be brainwashing our children, same way they brainwashed you. All of this is just to maintain control. When you know the truth, it will be so hard to be controlled by fear. And if you look around you, all these rogues and their own vuvuzelas, I'm talking about the social media bandits, Facebook adsmen, the crumb eaters, the crumb chasers, the ass leakers, the all risers that you see, oceans that you see everywhere. They are working tirelessly to rewrite history, but we won't let them. Okay? So if your anger is raging, remember, I am not the cause of your frustration. I am not the reasons why Nigeria is dealing with every one of you. Take that to the bank. Yes, you might want a place where you want to vent your anger. You might actually need a place where you have somewhere to, sometimes, right? They say if you go to anger management classes, right? They will give you several therapy techniques to undo your anger. Okay, some they will say, listen, when you feel so angry, grab a pillow, right? Put it all over, put your head over that pillow and scream with all your strength. When you are tired, remove the pillow. That anger will subside. Some will say, if you are angry, there is something they give to you that you have to hold. When you're angry to the point that you feel like you need to punch somebody, you need to, go physical. When you go for anger therapy, right, they will give you this grabber, right? It's a soft ball. They say, hold it. Keep holding it. When you are angry, keep squeezing it. Keep squeezing it. I don't have all those resources to give to you to undo the Nigeria anger or rage in you. My platform has always been a therapy session for many, many of you who love to blame Mayegun for the destruction that your ruthless oppressors have brought upon you, the ones you love to worship. So I've got one thing that can help you if you are looking for how to get angry. Listen, it shouldn't be because of your oppressors. This should get you angry. I mean, you started somewhere, something you felt like was completely unacceptable. You couldn't survive it if nothing was done in time. In 2015, the fraudsters, they came like a thief in the night. They didn't come to develop. They didn't come to save. They didn't come to build. They did not come to prosper you. They came in like in the middle of the night, like thieves. And according to the Bible, the thieves came in the middle of the night to what? To loot, to steal, to destroy, and to kill. Everything they said in that book, or the holy book, is what APC, Egbekegbe, represent. And I am not one of them. Okay? All of this should get you angry. You started somewhere. I mean, 87 naira per liter for your fuel was once unacceptable. Now you have it at 180 naira. Look at you. The bag of rice for 8,500 naira was once unacceptable until you begin to pay 36,000 naira for it today. I mean, 200 naira to $1 was unacceptable until you started paying $710, I mean, 710 naira to $1. Same thing with your external debts. I mean, 9.7 billion was unacceptable, right? Until you have a 98, nearly 100 billion as your external debt today. I mean, a cylinder of gas for 2.5 was unacceptable until you started paying nearly 10,000 for it today. I mean, a liter of diesel was at 155 naira was unacceptable until you started paying 800 naira for it today. So, and on and on and on like that. So if you want to get angry, listen, I didn't do that. I didn't. Okay? Your criminal political class did. The ones that some of you would love to choose sides. But there is this trending story, and I don't think it's going to be right for the brethren in the temple of truth to miss out on it. Are you with me? I'm a Yoruba man. I mean, if you take out all of the bigotry, if you take out all of the hatred, if you take out all of the religious fanatism or every other thing, and then ethnic, supremacy and all those stuff that Nigeria taught us, all of us, some of us have just somehow figured it out that we have been the pawn on their chess table for long. How did they manage to hold us together that long? Well, it was because they could ensure that they ingrain that hatred, division, and all manner of things that will never make me and you actually see ourselves as the victims of the system that serves just the minute few and their own angers on, and left the rest of us desolate, as you can see. Yeah? So if you take all of that away, things Nigeria taught us, right? You realize that Yorubas are wonderful people. The characters that have been, benefiting from the entire mismatch, entire division, and all of this hate that you see around today, if you and I will actually confess to it, the beneficiary are not interested in uniting Nigeria for any reason, because if that should happen, people will begin to ask, how did we actually agree to be together this long? Of course, you ask questions. They could only hide. And listen to this, your political leaders from northern Nigeria to east to west to south, everywhere, right? They are the exact copy of many of us today. The bigotry you see in many Nigerians today, especially during the election cycle, you can at the same time smell it, right? It's right there in the characters that are representing every one of these tribes in the project Nigeria. But there's something trending that we shouldn't miss out. What is that trending? Is the fact that the story of how Tinubu stole the identity of a young girl called Bola Tinubu. She was the daughter to a former police officer from that same Isale Eko called Kafaru Tinubu. And since internet, where APC, Egbekegbe, have planted serious propaganda, tribal division, tribal ethnic hatred, religious extremism, and things that continue to grow the fear that they have used for 62 years to glue Nigeria together just for their own selfish gain alone. That same internet is now fighting back. The generation of young people who have now somehow, who are fed up for real with all the lies, deceit, and somehow can no longer sit back and be spoon-fed with made-up stories that continue to glorify criminals as heroes in this Nigeria. Now, here is the story. Like I said, many of you have heard this story many times. Let me tell you something, okay? All of this toxicity that you are seeing on social media among Nigerians, if you are a non-Nigerian, right, and you have been onto the Nigerian social media spaces, right, and you have seen them like they don't listen to themselves. Every small thing is all fight, and all their fights is border on religious. This is more than that. This tribe is more bigger than that tribe, or more powerful than this, or that other one, and the rest of that. Yeah, all those toxicity that you see today, the lies, the propaganda that you are witnessing among Nigerians today, that has become like permanent now. They were brought to Nigeria by APC, Egbekegbe, including makeup lies, stories that you can never trace. You know what I mean now? All things that you can never confirm or verify. All bogus group of criminals. And they have managed, right, to breed a generation of nincompoops. Are you following me? That the only way that this generation somehow feels like they could fight back is to begin to untangle those lies they have told for far too long without any fear. Do you get that now? Remember, what the rulers of Nigeria really thrive on is when their fear grows wide. Today, the fear in Nigeria today can actually wreck any country if it's not Nigeria. The fear, the threats every day. And people just have to learn to cope with them until they have an opportunity to explode. And then you'll be like, oh, that's a gentleman. Why did he explode that much? It's because every Nigerian you see everywhere is walking about with his own bottled anger, frustration, all of this hatred, division, and the rest of them that have been implanted in everyone. And when the chance creates itself, like now, you see them everywhere, and you begin to ask, Omo, now so una hate yourselves, and you still call yourself one country? They are not one. I'll tell you more. But the bogus, everything you see today, the toxicity, right? The lies, the propaganda, the scams that you see everywhere today when it comes to leadership, economy, security, and so many other things today. They were brought upon by APC. Egbekegbe. Do not forget that. Now let's go back to the story. You have been hearing about Amoda. No, there is a name for him. I used to call him Amoda Ogunlere. But the story has finally been clear. Okay? And you should please, right, pay attention. Who is Bola Tinubu? Bola Tinubu was a girl, and she was a daughter to a man called Kafaru Tinubu, who also happened to be the senior brother to Abibatu Mogaji. Now, Abibatu Mogaji is kind of publicly known as the mother who adopted Amoda Ogunlere, who is now called Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But how did that happen? From the story that indeed already published as far back as August 1999. Back then, people wrote, not that people just forgot Tinubu and they are just coming out now. No. What happened then was that Tinubu lied to the Afenifere Alliance for Democracy political leaders at the time When they discovered it was too late, yes, it was too late. It was already sworn in as governor of Lagos State. And this was just about 3 months after he became governor, sworn in, the story started coming out. And that was what prompted late Chief Gani Faweyimi to go to court to say, how could somebody be this so fraudulent? And he got away with all of this? How? Well, I'll tell you the full story. They said sometimes in the early 50s, a young boy left a town called Iragbiji. Iragbiji, which is today part of Osun State, was then just Western region. And he moved down to Ibadan. In Ibadan, where he went to his primary, and then his standard 6 education. In the 70s, right? He moved down to Lagos, just like many other young people from Yoruba land after the Civil War, the Biafran War. When he got to Lagos, right, he met a woman, a societal lady. In fact, from the story, which is still very fresh, Abibatu Mogaji, if you have been, or let me put it this way, for the sake of the audience I have here, for many of you who grew up in Isaleiko, part of Lagos, in the late 70s and early 80s, you would know that the most, profitable, let me say, the most reigning means of livelihood in that part of Lagos, Nigeria, was actually drug smuggling, drug peddling. Now, here is where the story gets interesting. Also, if you are also very conversant with the history of the Lagos in the 70s, the early 80s, late 80s, and early 90s as well, you will be you will remember a popular place called Oluwole. And what were they doing at Oluwole at the time? Forgery. Now, here is the story. Amoda Ogunlere got to Lagos with one intention, just to survive, succeed, and whatever it's going to take. And he met a woman called Abibatu Mogaji, societal, rich, but also a drug peddler as well. Some of you are shocked. I told you earlier, before you get angry, don't get angry at me. I'm just telling a story. I didn't make up the story. I didn't write the story. Many of you know this story. But today, why are you saying the story now? Is because I am about to get to that part. Our children deserve to know this truth. Some of you suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, you deserve to know this truth. Whatever you make of it is your business. Listen to it, bin it, use it, that's yours. The reasons why many real Yoruba or Moluwabis, you will be wondering, how come it's so hard for the Yorubas to actually lay themselves on the ground for Tinubu to trample upon? Why are these people not supporting the drug dealer and the drug baron? Here is the history why. Abibatu Mogaji, who ended up being the Iyaloja of Lagos, was reported to be a ringleader among those early 70s, 80s drug peddler, Isaleiko. You know them all. She was rich, and whoever they could use to peddle drugs, right, is welcome. Was welcome at the time. Amoda Ogunlere got to meet Abibatu Mogaji. And for one purpose of, are you ready to be my son? Which Tinubu willingly agreed. Here is the point. Around that time, not like now, yeah, to go abroad. One of the reasons why many of you are now queuing, or going to the Orioke, or going to do this and that for visa to go anywhere in the world today. The people who actually made that happen are still the same people kind of ruling you too. Do you know the reasons why they stop Nigerians from getting visas just like that anymore? Just traveling out of Nigeria without visas. It was because of the drug crisis, which was the main business of the people of Isaleko. They make easy money. They party a lot, but they were all over there on the island. So how do we then have to bring this boy from Iragbiji into the system? The first thing we have to do is to change his name. But here is something. Abibatu Mogaji had a brother, a senior brother, they said, and his name is Kafaru Tinubu, the one that actually comes from Tinubu family of Isaleko. Now, you can separate Tinubu family, the real Tinubus in Isaleko, from this Tinubu, because it is a fact that is not their family, right? And the adoption was just a paperwork. How? They said Kafaru, Baba Kafaru, police officer Kafaru, had a daughter, and her name was Bola Tinubu. Okay, so the young girl, right, was supposed to go abroad for education, as they said, but she fell ill, sick, and died. Now, but how did Tinubu now come into the picture? This is how. Abibatu Mogaji needed a name for this new boy. And Bola Tinubu is a girl's name. How is he going to then, they say, well, Kafaru Tinubu should adopt him. Let's put a paper together and say he's adopted. And in fact, Bola was a boy, or Bola is a boy, not a girl. So Oluwole was there to do all the papers. This is not a beer parlor talk, because that's what they will tell you. Now, they said there are some stories that will be like so true, but it will be like it's a Nollywood script. It's not. That Baba Kafaru Tinubu adopted Tinubu for the paperwork of which eventually was why they sent him to America, that he eventually became notorious drug peddler, the accountant for drug smugglers, the one that had the FBI trailing him from the 1983. They said they have been trailing him from they have been trailing all these drug dealers, right? But by the time they got to 1990, they had their man. It was Tinubu. Now, here is what happened. Tinubu was moved to America. His job was to be, according to this gist, they said his job then was to be what? To be the, what do you call it? The bag man, put it that way. And this bag man was going to be a student. And there was going to be a cover, and that cover was when it became this accountant they put together as well, right? But here is the twist. From the FBI document, Tinubu, a supposed staff of an oil servicing company in America, had access to millions of dollars that were unrelated, number one, to his registered income, not just himself, including when he met this Remi Tinubu, the Remi Werepe. Now, all the FBI documents that are now out on Tinubu's drug dealing and the rest of that, yeah, laying credence to the story of how he got to the America in the first place. Now, let's now pull it back.
how he adopted the identity of a dead girl. If Tinubu was adopted by Abibatu Mogaji, shebi Abibatu's husband at the time, right, could possibly be the adopted name they will give to the new boy. Abi? Okay. There is no record that Abibatu Mogaji, right, married anyone called Tinubu or from Tinubu's family or Tinubu's family in Lagos. The only link, right, that Abibatu Mogaji had with the Tinubus is that of his own senior brother, who happened to be a police officer, according to the record. So others said, how come, since Tinubu, as they are rewriting this history today in Lagos by the Agberos that he has empowered over time, yeah, there are real Tinubu families in Lagos. But do you know that none of them, no single one of them, came out to say he's our family member? Now, this shady one, this shady person, right, from Iragbiji, also have a story and history that also linking back to that Iragbiji in Osun State today, right? Now, let's go back to that. You see the current governor that is in Osun, Oletola, is a cousin to Tinubu. How? I'll tell you. According to Aregbesola and Oyinlola in the past, they have confirmed that Tinubu had a sister then in Osun. And that sister gave birth to a son. And that son is called Oletola today, which then made Tinubu his second cousin. I'll tell you how. They said Tinubu's real mother, our own junior sister, is the mother to the current governor of Osun State, Oletola. So, which means Oletola's mother and Tinubu's real mother, they were sisters. As Tinubu is the senior, Oletola is junior. So therefore, they are first and second cousins. They themselves said that they have no relations with Lagos. That is why it is sad today that now, if you look at the real Lagosians, one of the things they said Tinubu succeeded in doing, let me tell you something, okay? It's a Eko that you call the Lagos Island, right? They are not the owners of Lagos only. When I say Lagos now, I am talking about conglomeration of so many other, people from different, tribal background in Yoruba land. And I'll give you those instances. If they were supposed to create Eko or Eko state, yeah, the real Omo Ekos who are from the Isale Eko, they will claim Eko properly. But when you say Lagos, you and I know that today, in that Lagos, well, from the time immemorial anyway, in that Lagos, you have the part they called Ibeju, Lekki, Lagos, all this Lagos Island and all those areas as well. Then you have the areas like Ekpe, they are Ijebu. Ekpes are Ijebu, Sabi, or you don't, but they are Lagosians, Sabi. Then when you go to Ikorodu, then you see the, Ikorodus, they are Ijebu, Sabi. Do you know that? And they are part of Lagos. And in fact, they control the largest part of Lagos. Ijebus control the largest. Now, when you now go to the, are they called Ohoyi or are they called, I'm going to say the Aworis. If you now go to Badagry, which is also Lagos, Abi, you know where they control, Abi. Now, if you now see the Agberus, some of them who came from outside what is today's Lagos, and the first landing place back in the days, if you want to go to Lagos, because where you could easily become suddenly rich and possibly like, go into real crime at the time. No, this is not an insult to those of you who are real Lagosians. I'm talking about real Omo Eko, from Eko, part of Lagos, right? Many people who came from, you call people who came from outside Lagos, we call them Araoke. When you land from Iluoke, whether you are from Oyo, you are from Egba, you are from wherever you come from, once you land in Lagos, most people would like rather land in Isaleko. You could end up becoming a drug peddler. You could become a 419. You could become anything just to make money. Right there was like hustling. That was Isaleko. So the real Omo Ekos, I'm talking about all of you are the real ones whose fathers and parents actually own Lagos, right? You know what I'm talking about when these people invaded you at the time. Those are the people, right, who have eventually pushed every one of you to the backwater, who are now controlling what is the Lagos State. Though I don't have any grudge against that, because when you look at them, you will see Ijebus, you will see Ekiti, you will see Oshuns, you will see Oyo, Egbas. They are there. While the real Omo Ekos, some of them are hustling to gain access into the Lagos State Civil Service. Do you know that? Listen to this. So if you are an Igbo man, or you are a Hausa, or you are probably not from Lagos, or you are from outside the Yoruba land, and somehow they take a jibe at you, even if you were born in Lagos. One of the lies of Nigeria is that no matter where, even if your parents, if you are the third generation of your parents living in Ijebu and you are from Benue State, you are supposed to be an Ijebu right there. But Nigeria, one of the lies is that they know you can't be Ijebu. You know why? That's why they said they can only recognize you from by your state of origin, okay? Not by your state of birth. Many of you, millions of you were born in Lagos, but your parents are not from Lagos. You know that, Abi? But today, right, before you take offense, listen to me, before you take offense, that some Araokes who have domiciled that same Lagos for decades now, they are calling you out, or they are trying to gaslight you because of Tinubu and his gang, okay? Listen to me. Whether you are feeling bad about it or not, listen. You see, the real people of Lagos, they would, if you have a chance of asking them their true stories, if they have an opportunity of telling you their life experiences since this democracy or since this Nigeria happened to them, if they tell you what they have been going through, you will be so shocked that, really? Yes. In the civil service of Lagos State, if you are from the real Lagos, they know them. They know them. They know the children, the descendants of the real Omo Ekos. And in the political space, they have already put ceiling on what they can become politically, right? Even in their civil service. This is real. But guess what? If you look at those who are going to defend Tinubu most, they are not from Lagos. Their parents are not from there. Their parents are among those who also left different parts of Yoruba land to go and hustle in Lagos. And therefore, somehow, their children are telling the story of Lagos. But you know it. Somehow you do. Here is the point. The real owners of Lagos, from Isaleko, they will tell you. The real owners of Lagos State from Ekpe, the real Lagosians from Badagry, the real Lagosians from Ikorodu, they will tell you how much they have put that ceiling over them, except for a handful of them that are already in bed with Tinubu's ideology. When you look at many of them shouting, go back to your state, go back to your state, go and fix your state. Many of them are from Iragbiji, they are from Oshun, they are from Oyo, they are from everywhere. The same places, right, that their own parents probably tried when they ran away too, and they ran back too, because, yeah, it is Nigeria. However, if you ask the real people from Lagos, they will tell you, they are being treated even worse than many of you who are non-Yorubas. And you should take this to the bank, okay? Those are supposed to be Yorubas, the real owners of the land. They have been pushed backward. Now, they are living in a place where, just like all of you, they are reading it in the papers. They are reading it online, that Lagos State is making this money. Lagos State is making that money. Lagos State is building this. Lagos State is building that. They are reading them on papers. And they are reading that out of everything they are making from their Lagos, so 20 to 30% of that goes into the Tinubu's pocket. 50% of that goes into the pocket of his hirelings. The rest, they still manage to steal from them. Where, as at 2022, Lagos has no public drinkable water made by government. Lagos has no stable electricity provided by government. Lagos has no motorable railroad that covers at least, let's say, 40% of the entire state. Lagos State has no real security that is, you know what I mean? And when you talk about joblessness, oh dear. When you talk about high crime rate, oh my. You know, these are their legacies. Now, you dare read about them like all of you. And they are wondering, are you talking about this Lagos? Tinubu did this, Tinubu did that. Some of them are there. But listen to this. The real owners of Lagos started speaking up, as usual, that, you know what? We can't all continue like this. Listen, the real owners, the supposed descendants of owners of Lagos, from Ikorodu to Ekpe, to Badagry, from Badagri, to Ibejuleki, from Ibejuleki come down to Lagos Island and the rest. They are descendants who Tinubu has managed over time to shortchange by altering their education, right? Ensuring that they are miseducated. And I mean, 20 years, man. 22 years of miseducation. What do you expect? You are going to have an army of illiterates. Self-destructive mob. Uneducated or miseducated mob that will be available to do the bidding of the people who put them in that situation. 22 years is a long time, man. Talk less of those whose parents were also brainwashed by the same system, giving birth to children who are to be brainwashed by Tinubu and gang, and on like that. Come on, man. Think how much job is going to be like to get people reprogrammed or the commission from what Tinubu and gang has programmed. There are real owners there. You know what they are doing? You know what the descendants of real Lagos are doing? They have turned them to Ogunlere. Ogunlere. You know what they are doing? Since they have no economic power, since there is never any plan for them, since those who came from elsewhere and at the same time using Lagos money, the people, as springboard for their own political, careers in their different other Yoruba states where they also intend to replicate what they are doing in Lagos there. Are you wondering why the rest of Yoruba land is underdeveloped? Are you wondering? Where are they going to learn development from? Where? Dubai? London? Oh, I don't think so. Lagos is breeding them. It's like a breeding ground. And Tinubu brags about that. There is nowhere in Yoruba land. Listen to this, oh. This is a fact, oh. Okay? For 22 years now, we have had democracy. Abi? In Nigeria. 22 years. Yorubas have been in charge of our own affairs in Yoruba land. Your local government chairmen, they have been Yorubas. Your councillors have been Yorubas. Your lawmakers from 1999 have been Yorubas. Your senators, House of Rep, they have been Yorubas from 1999, right? Your governors, all of them, your ministers from Yoruba land, they have been Yorubas. 22 years, there is nowhere in Yoruba land, no state, no local government, right, that has a working pipe-borne public tap, public water provided for by government. No single state, right? Population of over 40 million people. Is that not a shame? Is that not a shame? If you are looking for somebody to call a bastard, should you not be calling your political leaders bastards now? 22 years. 22 years. From Abeokuta to Akure. From Akure to Ado-Ekiti. Ado-Ekiti to Osogbo. From Osogbo pada to Ibadan. From Ibadan, to where? To Ikeja in Lagos. From Ikeja to Bodilon. From Bodilon, you can take a quick divert back to Ilorin. There is no single state in Yoruba land where the government is currently providing, clear, certified, guaranteed, safe water for household use today. Nowhere. But you want to brag about how they have done for you, how well they have done. Well, that's going to be your cupcake. In any way. The Lagosians who are now speaking up, they said, at this point, people like say they won't fight back, even though they have no economic power. You know what Tinubu turned them to? They turned them to Agbero. They will say, look at that guy there. Look at that guy there. Only now you sell all the land for this place. They are now selling their inheritance in order to meet up the economic or the economy that Tinubu and gang have created. Somebody came there and said Tinubu made Lagos State the biggest economy in Africa. Lagos State is the worst city to live in the whole world. Yes, they did a survey. Lagos State is the worst place to raise a child in this 21st century. There is a survey. Yes. And no thanks to the rogues who have become richer. Some of them are now richer than the states that they are controlling. Therefore, they considered every one of you from in those states as their subjects. You need to listen to your leaders. Listen to your elders. When elders are talking, you cannot carry the shoe of these people. You cannot even lace their shoe. Why should you be lacing the shoe of a man? A man like you. If he hasn't subjected you, or if you have not subjected yourself into that slave mentality, something they pushed you into, and some of you are happy slaves too. Why should you be happy to be cleaning the shoe of your fellow man? Why should you be humbled, right, to be lacing the shoe of your fellow man? Not because you actually want to do it, but because you have to, because you see yourself so lower. They have placed you that low, unfortunately. Lagosians are now selling lands. When you see them, they say, Omonile loko ta. 60 by 120, Omonile loko ta. Say the guy get money, die. They took away education from them. They took away the opportunity to economically empower them. They took away the opportunity to make them contributory to the real development of humanity enough that could at least guarantee a better future for their children. Rather, they subjected them into life of profligacy. Profligacy is when you just have to get by. Hustlers. The people that now sold all of their inheritance, Tinubu took the ones he could take from them, turned them to his properties. Happy slaves, happy and humbled slaves. They were happy to be. Others who couldn't wait, what are they doing now? They are selling the land they inherited from their parents. So what are they doing? Like Tinubu did. What are you doing? You are selling off what could have make you lay claim to the land bequeathed to you by your own ancestors. So who is now the Omoale of Yoruba land? The all of you, who are killing yourselves, fighting over who is going to collect the money from Alaji, from Keribi, from Chad, from Alaji, from Sokoto, from Kano, because you are so eager to even kill yourselves. Omo Abule Showo. Abule Showo means the people that actually they cut land and turn into money. You don't turn land to money. You don't turn land to money. You sell off your inheritance. That is what you have done. Many of you, your parents did them. They did that. Today, you are shouting. They want to take over Lagos. They want to take over Lagos. Meanwhile, now the same money they collected from selling your land, your inheritance, they used them to send you to Tinubu school, Nigeria school, that after all of that, you ended up as a vuvuzela, praising your oppressors who continue to push and push and push more of you to part with your inheritance, only to come back later and cry, as if to say, now just then take the lands from you. You sold and sold and sold and sold and sold your lands. You started selling the areas that you once abandoned, dump sites, areas that many of you felt like you would never live in. You started selling and selling. Today, many of those areas are not owned by you anymore. And this is just a fraction, by the way. If you look at all the areas they have sold, Chief Oji, Emeka from Anambra, came to Lagos like Kunle or Adekunle from Iragbiji. They both landed in Lagos. Emeka has no land to sell, and he has nobody to identify with to say, oh, you are from my this or that. Oh, Emeka came from a far distance. Therefore, Emeka knows Yoruba land is not Igbo land. But Emeka didn't bother. These Yorubas are welcoming. They are accommodating. Oh, they are so loving as well. Maybe I could even thrive here and become better too. Adekunle, who landed, had the same opportunity, didn't he? Then Emeka, from wherever to wherever, started servicing you right there that he met in that same Lagos. This story, listen. Now you have Emeka, you have Aliyu, and you have Adekunle. None of them is from Lagos. But Adekunle is Yoruba. Lagos State is Yoruba land. Emeka is Igbo. Emeka is from Igbo land, and he knows Lagos State is Yoruba land. Same with Aliyu from Kano. But they met people in Lagos speaking Yoruba and other languages. Fine. Then one day, Emeka saved money and said, I am looking for a place I could buy, right? And then, build my own house. Maybe that is even far-fetched. The house that Emeka is going to stay when he comes is probably owned by a Yoruba man. The shop that Aliyu is going to rent is probably owned by a Yoruba man. If the house are not owned by Yoruba men, but maybe the land is leased by a Yoruba man, fine. Then one day, Emeka is advised that, instead of paying this amount of money on rent, there are lands that people are ready to sell. They are willing. They are not leasing. They are not leasing the land so that it could still be more and more valuable to them. They are selling it off completely. They want to sell. Emeka said, how much? Somebody said, well, you are Emeka. Aliyu came, he said, I'm Aliyu. Another one came, he said, I'm Adekunle. Adekunle is a Yoruba man, and the seller is a Yoruba man. And Adekunle asked, how much is this plot of land? The Yoruba seller, the Akotilator, that is going to blame other people for his misfortune and his unfortunate life in the future, is there. Adekunle asked, how much is this land? And the seller, a supposed Yoruba man, feels like, no, I am selling the land for 10 naira. Adekunle feels like, no, that's too much. 10 naira. Emeka said, I'll pay. 10 naira, that's much, I know, but I'll pay. Since you are selling everything to me for life, the land, everything belongs to me. Yeah, I'll pay. Aliyu came, he said, I'll pay too. Then this Yoruba seller becomes greedy. Number one, his fellow Yoruba brother is out of the picture if he can no longer match Emeka's money. Remember, his greed is making him to sell his inheritance. His short-sightedness is making him forget that he's also going to have offsprings. People who could actually make use of that same valuable land in the future. No, he wants to sell it. He wants to eat it right now because he didn't know when he's going to die. So why should he actually keep it for his own child? Listen, now he's becoming greedier